Welcome to Wrestling with Goals, the See, Believe, and Achieve podcast, where we delve into the minds of elite athletes and coaches to uncover their secrets behind their success. I'm your host, Sean Geris, former university wrestling coach, D1 wrestler, national champion, Olympic trials medalist, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a three-time world team coach in grappling, and author. Join me as we explore the realms of training, mindset, goal setting, overcoming adversity, and various coaching methodologies in the world of sports. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, you're talking about the nervousness before, a tournament, a big tournament like that too, can be probably more intimidating.
Yeah.
One of the things that, we did when we were in Michigan, it was focus on the controllables, because a lot of the times I think what we do as athletes is we defeat ourselves prior to competition, and we think about the uncontrollables, the outcomes of the match. I want to win this match. And, often we can't control that. It's not the match decides that's itself. And if we tear ourselves up inside, we lack the mental preparation, when we go into those fields. So when you're talking about, how, you were able to settle yourself. I think that's what you're doing, is keeping away from those negative distractions. But one of the things we did was think about controllables, what we could do, what we've been trained to do. And I know we talked in the last podcast to one of your teammates, Vienna, and she called it something different. It was called, I can't even remember. And I was just talking about it today, actually, but we used a different term called the controllables. But man, it's such a powerful thing to, I don't think we understood it. And I think this is why, it understood back in my day, but then I think now you're seeing more sports psychologists pop up, and especially, at the university level as well, because when you want to get to a higher level, the mental process can really be daunting. It can break us.
Yeah.
You had situations where you may have lost a match because of you feel now that you were mentally unprepared?
Oh, definitely my gold medal match. I was so confident in my first three, not like, I'm better than them or whatever. Just like, I don't necessarily like to say stuff like that. I just kind of like to say, like, I'm a good wrestler. Like, I can wrestle with them regardless of what they do. Not necessarily like, oh, I'm so much better than them. Like, whatever. Like, I was definitely a lot nervous for my Germany match, because I don't know. You do your like research for some stupid reason and find out that they're like an Olympian and whatever. And so, but for my gold medal match, I'd never been in that position before, ever. Like, the last time I was going for a world medal was at the Cadet World Championships in 2019, which I did not get, but I ended up placing 5th. But so that was the last time, which was when I was like a teenager, like young teenager, like I think 10th grade. And so to be in a world final, and also it's a little trippy in a way. Like, you're kind of like, okay, like, I'm, regardless of what happens, I'm coming home with a world medal, especially if you've never come close to even, getting a world medal, or just the fact that you've secured like a piece of hardware at like a world championship is like crazy to me. Like, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like, and then I was just kind of trying to be positive. I was like, what, like, regardless, blah, blah, blah. But I think the reason why I lost, even though I lost pretty horribly, but the reason why I lost, I genuinely think, was because I did not believe that I could actually beat her. I don't know what it was. I don't know why I thought I was better in my previous 3 matches. And then maybe it was because it was Japan or whatever. Maybe it was the long wait, or I don't know. But I genuinely think if I were to wrestle her again, like, it would be a totally different showcase, and hoping that I get that chance again, and possibly in a world final.
Yeah, and now is this I'm guessing, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm listening to you talk here about the mental preparation and how you weren't mentally prepared for your last match. Is this why you tapped into the psychologist?
Yeah, I've talked about over a year now, even when I came home last U23s and I didn't do extremely well. I wanted to talk to a sports psych. It's the part where you don't know where to start, and also maybe a little bit like it's a little scary and a little like strange to me. Like I don't meditate. I don't like really journal. I don't like do that kind of stuff. I kind of just like, oh, okay, like whatever. And so I was like, I think once an athlete hits a milestone that they've been trying to grasp at, like this is like my 5th world championship. So I was like, I have to break the barrier at some point. So then when I finally did, I was like, you know what, maybe I think that's what's stopping me from being a world champion is my mind. I think that's literally the only thing that's coming between me and a world title. Because everything's there, cardio's there, strength's there, could be better, but weight's great, technique, athleticism is all there. It's just I think it's my mind, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Even to say that, like I've attended 5 world championships, like people would, even if you've never gotten anything, people in Canada are like, that's so sick. Even like you still got to go. It's the same thing with like the Olympians that I look at that just previously went, and if I was one of them, and although they probably would have wanted to come home with a medal, I'm like, it's still crazy that they even went there. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that. So.
Yeah, I don't think, the average person that doesn't do sports, they don't realize just how powerful the mental aspect of sport is.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, I give this story. It's about myself. I was predicted to win a tournament, and, being told by everybody you're going to win this tournament.
Right.
I go to the tournament, and it's the first match, losing. I think it was 7-0, and then I'm trying to build up as the time's running out. I'm building back, trying to take the lead over, and I end up losing 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
Go all the way to the consolation rounds, and same guy, and I beat him 12-0.
Okay.
That's just mental sport.
Oh,
It has
yeah.
nothing to do with the physicality. It has nothing to do with the weights I lifted.
Yeah.
It was just pure mental. And I was a cocky son of a gun.
Yeah.
I remember that, but that was what it was, and that's how powerful the mental side of sports can be. And I think you reaching out to a psychologist, although it seems strange in my profession, it's almost a must. But I can tell you, it's not as bad as people think it is. I think sometimes there's like a stigmatism that goes, "Oh, you're talking to a psychologist."
Yeah.
You know what? It really gives you just a different perspective on yourself, and then introspectively you can kind of say, yeah, I can see that, or I can, I'm going to change this, or I'm going to do this to better myself. Sometimes it is good to have somebody outside, other than a coach, other than a friend, to give you that criticism that you kind of need sometimes.
Mhm.
So it's good to hear that you're taking that step.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you set that goal for yourself. And have you started the process with the individual yet?
I haven't yet. We've been emailing back and forth. We just haven't been able to figure out a time. It's just schools or exams are kind of starting, and the first semester's kind of ending. So it's been just hectic and crazy to just find the time to sit and
Well, I believe you, because it's really hard to book you on this.
I know.
So I know you're not lying. Sorry. What else was I going to chat with you about? The road to the U23s. I mean, you've already. You let's talk about your dad, because you talked about him a little bit there. What's your dad's full name?
John Di Benedetto.
First name, sorry.
John.
John. And when did he wrestle?
Oh. He's 61. So.
Okay. So he wrestled a little later than me. I'm just gonna figure it out. But Bishop Bryant was a huge, it's been a powerhouse in wrestling for years to come. I think it was, maybe it might be Henry Mancini. Does that sound familiar? That name?
Harry Mancini.
Harry? Okay.
Harry, I'm not sure what his dad's name is. Maybe it's Henry. I'm not too sure. But Harry was the head coach at Bishop Ryan, who coached
Yep.
my dad, and then my dad got a teaching job there.
Mhm.
Then coached. Then Sheldon Francis got a teaching job, and then took it over, and now it's still Francis. But yeah.
And is your dad still teaching there?
No, my dad retired when I graduated high school in 2021.
Oh, wait a second. So you were going to school at the same school as your dad when?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He taught there. Well, yeah. Even
Yeah.
my when my older sibling was there too. My dad attended the first ever. There's 3 Bishop Ryans that have been built. He attended the first ever one, and then that
Mhm.
one got taken down, and they built another one, and then he taught at the second one, and then that one got taken down, and they just rebuilt the newer one in 2014, which is the only one that like I went to, and now he like taught there. So he's been to every single Bishop Ryan there is, which is
Yeah.
crazy as a student and now as a teacher. And
Wow. So how was it in school for you as
Oh,
having your dad in there as a teacher?
It had its perks. I mean, I couldn't really do stuff like skip class or, without like, or trying to sneak around your parents to skip
Yeah.
class or, but if I wanted to, like, I could just ask him to sign me out or, but we actually, we used to have a wrestling class that you could take like as a credit, like as a phys ed credit.
Mhm.
And, Sheldon Francis was having a baby at the time, so he went on, I think it's called fraternity leave, what the
Mhm.
male goes on. And so my dad took over the class, and so he bumped up my mark. And so that perks like that, or now like even him being a teacher, I'm friends with so many teachers there now, and I'm friends with, their kids or stuff like that. And even still being around Bishop Ryan, I'm friends with people who are on the team now. And I even have a even younger sibling who is 9th grade, and I got him into wrestling. So that's where I was yesterday. I was watching at my high school his like first ever tournament. So it was kind of nice. And
That was
so
awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
No, we were supposed to record this yesterday, and then you said that you were going to get a tournament. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. You're going to
Yeah.
be there. And I'm sure there were some young kids that maybe heard about your silver medal. Did they come up to you at the tournament?
Oh yeah, there's one girl on Bishop Ryan team. I don't know exactly who she is, but I think she had to do an English essay or a history essay on a famous person. And even though I'm not like famous, I guess it was okay to pick me. And so she picked me, and she was just asking me some questions. And because I think I think it's kind of hard to Google me. I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not like a celebrity or anything, but and then I had just a bunch of like other people that I kind of knew who came up to me, and
Mhm.
yeah, other coaches as well from different high schools.
Yeah. So did this young girl, did she wrestle as well?
Yeah, she wrestles. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So well, obviously you knew your sport.
Yeah.
What kind of questions was she asking you?
She asked me. She asked me how it felt to win a silver medal, and she asked me just the basics, like how did I get into wrestling, and then I think she only asked me 3 questions, and then I think the last one was something like maybe like how do I, what do I want to say to like the younger kids, and yeah, just like basic questions like that.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important announcement.
Looking for top-tier healthcare in the GTA? Look no further than the Core Optimum Health Center. Founded by Dr. Pat Graham, official chiropractor for the Toronto Blue Jays, their clinic offers a wide range of services including physiotherapy, chiropractic care, acupuncture, massage therapy, naturopath, and more, all in a caring professional environment. They also are proud partners with the Shift Concussion Management Program, offering the latest concussion care and online neurocognitive impact testing at their Mississauga location. At the Core, your health is their priority. Visit the Core Optimum Health Center today and experience industry-leading care. Yeah. And walking away from that experience yourself, how did that feel?
It was really nice. It was like, I'm kind of a little like shy a little bit. So I was like, my friend kind of came up to me who helps coach there, and she was like, "Oh, this girl is writing about you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, and then she was like, "Oh, I'll tell her to like come up to you, whatever." But I'm like, if I don't know you, I'm kind of like, "Oh, okay." Like, and so she just came up to me. So I was just trying to be like super nice and not like seem intimidating or anything. Like, I don't want her to think I'm like scary or anything. So yeah, I was just open to anything. And I was like, if you have any more questions, like you can totally message me, or, you know, you can also, she could also like ask Francis. He knows like so much about me, and so.
That's awesome. So you're already building a fan base.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, you've been in the sport long enough. I'm sure you're going to
Yeah.
be there longer. So you might as well start building those little fan bases. And people are looking up to you because they do see the silver medal. They want to emulate you. I mean, that's got to be a different feeling. Now, unfortunately, when you don't perform, people don't have that tendency. But when they see that you are at
Yeah.
the level now, they're kind of like, oh, and you are kind of a little in our little wrestling world. You are a celebrity.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, like, think of it this way. So a good buddy of mine, I'm going to name drop. Do you watch the UFC?
Not really.
Not really. Well, when it first started, there was a guy named Randy Couture. And my brother went to school with him at Oklahoma State. He was the UFC champion. So, you could fill an arena with people. And when he came up here to visit me, we'd walk into Starbucks. Nobody would know who he was. We still don't. But when you go into your domain of expertise, that's when people start to recognize you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see more of that.
Yeah.
They go, oh, and even if they don't come up to you, they're going to be like, that's the girl. That's the one.
Yeah.
There's that added pressure now. So I want to talk to you about that too. Have you thought about that, like the added pressure to perform?
Yeah, I think I've always like struggled with that myself, even before getting silver. I put so much unadded, or I guess unneeded pressure on myself, just like, oh, even at like little varsity tournaments, it's like I don't know, what are the chances that there's going to be someone who's going to knock me off, the top of 53. But again, like you never know. And so I'm always like, oh, like, anything can happen. Like, what if, but definitely I think, which is why I wanted to kind of reach out to a sports psych, because I think now it might get a little bit worse, which is a little like sad to say. But definitely if I do make the U23 team again next year, and I attend, it'll definitely be like, oh, okay, like I need to do better, or I need to, bring home something.
The good thing is that there is help there, right? And you're reaching out for you, get it, and you'll be able to kind of, address those issues that you're going to have, because they're real issues. They do affect people. People, go through life thinking, that shit's not going to bother me. Deep down, subconsciously, sometimes the little things can kind of creep up, especially the worst times. And I think if you have a plan going into it, you focus on the controllables, or you focus on, relaxing yourself, whatever it is, whatever gets you through the day. And you've already found out that relaxing kind of takes you to that spot, that worries spot. That's half the battle, right? So glad to hear that you're reaching out. Is there anything else that you're doing right now that you've reached that level? Are you doing anything now that's changing the way you trained prior?
I think I'm kind of just implementing more like live situations into wrestling, or even I think something that like we struggle with is when you're drilling, it's kind of just super static and you're just kind of in stance, whereas it's not realistic. And so I think after coming home and after kind of watching and reviewing, I want to be able to do technique, but also look like I'm wrestling at the same time, which I think is something that McMaster, we've been trying to like implement more, because also we've watched a lot of other people wrestle at that World Championships, and then seniors after. We watched that Japanese wrestler, Ono. I think
Mhm.
his name's something like that. And he's very flowy and he's very young and he won. And so he's like a really big star right now.
Mhm.
And all these people, they just do techniques so differently. It's not just static, it's realistic. It's even Americans you watch, like the way they scramble and the way that they, drill. And so nothing major. But also it's kind of difficult to come from competing at like a high level to having to bring yourself back down for like something like varsity, because I am still like in university and I still obviously want to contribute to my team and
Yeah.
do well there. And the competition at that level is vastly different than that, like a world championship. It's
Yeah. You know what? I discovered, how do I put this politely? Wrestling in Canada is different. My experience, just from the stateside too. I went to school in Michigan,
Mhm.
and walking into a wrestling room. I've competed in the U.S. where I've been, had to fight my way in tournaments and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Walking into a wrestling room where there's tough guys in there, and they're not giving up points. There's an aggressive point. I found that, wrestling, and this was in high school, but even in other rooms that I've trained, giving up a point in practice didn't really matter so much.
Mhm.
It's like, oh well, I got taken down. When you go into a college level wrestling program in the U.S., you give up a point. The guys around you are pissed off.
Yeah.
And I think that contributes to the mindset where, yeah, I'm going to work my goddamn ass off every time.
Mhm.
Every time I'm in that room, and you're not getting a point on me regardless. And
Mhm.
I don't know if maybe it's healthy, maybe it's not, but it sure does produce winners over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember wrestling a kid. Well, he wasn't a kid; he was 38. At the University of Michigan Wrestling Club. I wrestled this guy, 38 years old. And I caught him twice in a row with an over under, put him on his back,
Mhm.
and then he proceeded to beat the crap out of me for the next hour. And I was trying to breathe. I couldn't breathe. He was over top of me, and he was, it was like he was sucking the air out of me.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let me go over to the side, and take a break. He would follow me as I go over and take a break. If I wanted to get a drink, he'd be waiting for me. And he just beat the crap out of me. I found out later he was Olympic gold medalist Steve Frazier. But it's the mindset I experienced that it's so much different, from the Canadian side to the American side, and it's just a border
Mhm.
that we cross. Internationally, what you're talking about, I think it's the same way. You start to see the difference in the way we train. Sometimes sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, because it does, the relaxed setting that we do sometimes in wrestling does benefit different matches, but when we come up with overly aggressive opponents, sometimes we can fall short to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I just went off on a tangent there.
No, that's okay.
Because it was interesting, because you said that, you had to bring yourself down to a level.
Yeah.
It is true. It's not when, some people say, oh, sounds a little arrogant. It's not. I mean, you are at a level, and there isn't, it is a different level, the U sports. I coached at that level as well at the York University.
Mhm.
It's different. I mean, whereas in the U.S., there's their NC2A champions are
Mhm.
progressing to the world medal status, at their whatever age group it is. So, do you look to ever go down to the U.S. and train with their folks at all?
When I was in high school, I used to go down a lot, just for tournaments. Like I went to a duel at Cornell in like I think ninth grade or something like that. I've gone to the Gotham City Girls tournament when I was eligible to go there. I went there like I think 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row, and then I just recently came back from the Bill Farrell tournament
Yes.
there. And I also have friends out in Wisconsin at River Falls.
Mhm.
I think their club's Victory. I think that's what it's called. and I trained with one girl there, Alicia Hawk. She placed third at the last U23 World Championships, I believe, or two, not the last one, but maybe the one previous. And so me and a couple of my teammates will go down there, and we went to Michigan as well, to Michigan Revolution, Dave Mayer's club. Yeah. We went there this summer. But yeah, and I'm trying to go down to the OTC, but it's just timing and stuff. It's just a little difficult. But yeah, I've gone down quite a bit. So
yeah, it's a great place to be. Michigan, I love it. Go blue. Yeah, like I said, I grew up in and around there. I still go down to the football games in Ann Arbor. And, actually, I'm going to take my team over to watch one of the dual meets with Michigan probably in July. Just to kind of get a different exposure, see the kids. You got a basketball stadium, full of people that are watching two kids college wrestling wrestle, and the crowd goes nuts. It's kind of a different atmosphere. So it's pretty cool. So we talked. You said Dave Mayer, and I laughed because I've known Dave his whole entire life. I've been dying to do the podcast because he doesn't hold back. If you know Dave, if I might be standing correct, but I think he was a Bishop Bryant kid himself.
Yeah, him and his brother as well, and his niece, who's actually my best friend, also went there too, and his daughter wrestles now for Orchard Park. So,
So I knew, although Dave's weight class was way below mine, I did know him and his brother. I think they actually were more closer to my brother's age. My brother's 2 years older than me, so, but in that same era as well. So, but that's when they had. Trying to remember the Belly Glazov was at the university.
Yeah.
Now
we have him actually coming to do a camp here tomorrow. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, Sergey, he's coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's at the University of Michigan club now, I think.
Yeah.
So good for him. That's not too great for us because, but good for him. Yeah. I want to thank you for coming on the show. This has been a blast learning about your journey in wrestling and seeing the connection that you had with your father. My father was my coach at one time, and I worked with him. And I understand the separation that we need sometimes from father. Even so, more so now that I have kids. I know that I got to kind of back off a little bit, but and then hearing about how you struggled on the mats mentally, which is great to hear because you've identified the holes in your game and you're doing something, which is awesome. The other thing too is this podcast becomes something where people can watch and they can learn from somebody like you. Yeah. Because you think that you don't have fans, there's people coming out and they're watching. Well, I want to be just like you. So I want to congratulate you again on your accomplishments. They're big accomplishments, for the sport of wrestling. Should be celebrated. And I hope there's more young kids coming up to you and asking you being, probably do what you're doing. Focus on the controllables, relaxing yourself. And you know what? I think that the medals will come as long as you keep doing what you're doing. You're in the right direction.
Thank you.
I hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. Your support means the world to us, so don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a comment in the section below. Your feedback fuels our journey to bring you more valuable content and stories from the realm of sports. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, believing in yourself, and achieving greatness. Thank you for listening.